Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Take Your Medicine. Oh my God, that's your nose in my mouth. You're extra once again this morning. How are you, everyone? I hope you're doing well. Let's see, it's been since I think like Saturday or something that I recorded. Sunday, we had our family day when we were Mormon. The Mormons have a tradition that I absolutely love. It's usually set aside on Monday nights, but they call it family home evening. And so when my kids were little, every Monday I would prepare a lesson and an activity and usually a little treat. And it was just basically family time. And then, oh, I just realized I forgot to turn on my lights. Let me do that so you can see me better. That's better. Hello. Um, and then, oh, this one too. And after we left the Mormon church, I continued to do family home evening, except for we started calling it Sunday lesson and we started doing it on Sundays. And it would just be a lesson that I would teach the kids. Sometimes AJ would teach it, and just things that we felt were important. When we left Mormonism, we felt the need to kind of undo some of the programming that we had created in our children. And so we had some lessons about, non-traditional families and what a family might look like, that a family doesn't always have to have a mom and a dad and children. Sometimes it's a dad and a dad, or a mom and a mom, or a grandma, or any kind of situation. There's so many different kinds of families that are beautiful and loving and can be healthy and wonderful. We did all kinds of different lessons, a lot of nutrition lessons, because that's something I've always been passionate about, is nutrition, since being diagnosed with MS and being on a journey of figuring out my own nutrition and healing through foods. So I've read a lot of books. One of them that I recommend is called Eat to Live. And that was something that I would read from to the kids. And we watched a lot of food documentaries and just tried to help them figure out nutrition as well. And now you are a lot, but you guys are out of hand. You're just the stars of the show. That's the way it should be. You're the cutest part of the show for sure. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your smile. I love your smile. You're the cutest. Um, so as my kids have gotten older, now it's not really a lesson very often anymore, although sometimes we do a lesson, and I am preparing for a lesson on self-love. I remember teaching them a lesson on how to be their own best friend, and my son still has the little flyer thing that I made. What's it called? Like a little visual that is like 10 different ways to be your own best friend. And I just wanted to do a follow up lesson to that. So I'm preparing that, and I printed off a picture of each of our children when they were really small. And I'm getting a mirror, and I'm going to put that picture of when they were tiny in the mirror so that I can teach them how to do their own mirror work and ask that little child what that little child needs, and to give that child what that child needs, and just hopefully help them learn to start healing their inner child, because I think it's the key to a lot of unlocking our own happiness in life, is to go back to ourselves as a little child and figure out, what do I need still? What did I not get? So this little guy, on what's today, Wednesday, it was on Monday night. We were, no, it was actually on Sunday night, because we were having family time. So now it's just family time every Sunday. So, my kids, my first four kids' dad and his wife, Tiff, and AJ and I and the kids get together, and we just do some kind of fun activity. And this last week, we had dinner over at our house, and then we played some games. We played the game Code Names, which is a fun, cute little game that I had never played before, that I bought a long time ago because my cousin told me it was really fun. and I had never even opened it. So Brighton, one of my older sons, taught us how to play that, and it was really fun. Then we played the game Block Us, which I totally recommend. It's like a board game, but it's like a game of Tetris almost. It's strategic, but it's super simple and easy to learn. And then we played Foursquare because in our front room we have four squares taped because my 11-year-old loves to play Foursquare. So AJ and I play with him quite a bit. And when the other kids come over, it's a fun thing to do. So we played some Foursquare for quite a while, and that was really fun. And after that, everyone went home, and Bennett came in through the doggy door, and he was frantic, and he was like not convulsing, but like stiff and crying. And it was pretty obvious that he had been stung by a scorpion. I think he was stung actually in the mouth. I'm not positive, but it was heartbreaking. And so we put him, AJ got in the shower with him to try and rinse him off and cool him down and help him calm down. Just held him in the shower for a little while. And then after about 20 minutes, he was okay. We just had him cuddled up in a towel and in a blanket, and he calmed down, but it was so sad. He was in a lot of pain, huh, Bennett? But he's doing so much better now, aren't you? He's a good boy. It really, Bennett has driven me crazy sometimes because of his anxiety. He's just like a ball of nerves all the time, and he can't calm down. And so sometimes it just gets on my nerves because energy affects me. I'm really sensitive, but seeing him in so much pain and just desperate to feel better made me feel so bad for him and made me appreciate him on a whole new level. I just love this little guy. We've been through a lot together. So good job getting through that, Benny. You're so brave, huh? Well, in that book that I've been telling you about on the last episode, it's called Radical Acceptance by Tara Brach. And it has been a really, really phenomenal book for me to read. And I was so excited to read the next part of it, which is, I think the chapter is called The Sacred Pause. But I just told you a couple of episodes ago about Ebert, my friend, my higher dimensional friend, who is so joyful and beautiful, and he's a great protector to me. And he was the very first being that made himself known to me and prepared me to be able to work with Jesus Kate and to commune with Jesus Kate and to feel her love. And the very first lesson that Ebert ever gave to me, I call the power of the pause. And I had never heard of the pause spoken about like Ebert speaks about it. And until this book, there's a whole section on the sacred pause. And so I wanted to just share a little bit about that. I think that the first time I really learned about pausing was when my children were really little, before my youngest was born, and I had four little kids, and I was doing a lot on my own because my ex-husband was extremely busy with school and work and working long hours. And so I was going to church every single week by myself with four tiny kids, like 7 and younger. And I was overwhelmed a lot, and I was very reactive more often than I wanted to be. I remember feeling so bad about myself because I could not figure out how to stop snap reacting to my children. And then I would go to bed at night and I would cry myself to sleep in shame, feeling bad for yelling at my children and snapping at them and making them feel bad when all I wanted to be was a loving mother. And so I learned, and I think I just made this up, but maybe it was Ebert even back then guiding me and I just wasn't aware. But I started to develop the habit of, when I could feel myself getting heated and frustrated and impatient, counting to 10. And those 10 seconds changed my life, and they changed the lives of my children. It was the number one thing that I wanted and was determined to learn as a mom of a bunch of tiny children. was patience. It was not something that was ever taught to me by my parents. I, was raised in a way that was very reactive a lot of the time, and so that was just in me and I wanted it out of me. And so I remember, specific times, one time waiting by my minivan sliding door for one of my children because he couldn't find his shoes. And I was so frustrated that he couldn't find his shoes because I told him to find his shoes 30 minutes before and he continued playing and blah, blah, blah. And so I remember standing by that sliding door of my minivan and counting to 10 and getting to 0, and he still wasn't there. And by the end of that first 10 count, I was calm and able enough to start again and count to 10 again. And I don't know how many times I counted to 10 that time, maybe just twice, I don't know. But it gave me that pause to calm myself, relax, and remember that I wanted to be kind and not hurt my children with my words and my energy. And so that really, really helped me. There were so many moments in every single day where I would get into that habit of feeling the tension and counting to 10, and little by little, I learned how to calm myself down, not be so reactive, not yell so much. And it really, really helped me. And I'm sure it helped my children. Fast forward several years to Ebert teaching me about the power of the pause. And that has continued to help me on an even deeper level, because now it creates an awareness that gives me total freedom. We think we are controlled by our thoughts and our feelings, but our feelings are like passing waves. We can simply pull back and observe them. We do not have to let them take our power. And I read a few quotes by Young Pueblo. If you do not follow Young Pueblo on Instagram, I highly recommend it. YUNGPUEBLO. And he has some excellent books, which the titles escape my memory right now, but I have one of them, and it's a wonderful book. And he has been talking on Instagram, at least this last post that I saw had several quotes about, allowing for awareness and pausing and giving yourself some space. So I wanted to read a couple of those. He says, "It is not about managing your emotions. It is about managing your reaction to your emotions." So often in my past, I would shame myself for feeling the way that I felt. And I would get wrapped up in simply feeling bad about myself for even having the feelings I have. What I've realized is that feelings are something we cannot control. They come up without any warning. A trigger happens and all of a sudden we feel scared, we feel unsafe, we feel hurt, we feel jealous, we feel lonely. But to what we do have control over and what we can manage is how we react to the feelings that arise. And what that requires is a pause, stopping and pulling back and seeing that emotion rise up in us and having compassion. Radical acceptance, I spoke about this last time, requires a lot of compassion and awareness. Of radical acceptance requires compassion and awareness. And so if we can notice the feelings that are coming up, and instead of shaming ourselves for something we absolutely cannot control, we can simply observe the feeling that comes up in us, have compassion for ourselves for the very real place that those feelings came from. Every feeling that arises in us has roots, it has a past, it has history. And so we can have compassion for ourselves, we can love ourselves, we can be gentle with ourselves. And in doing so, we regain our freedom, we regain our power. He also says, when you remember that emotions are impermanent, just like everything else in the universe, it becomes easier for you to stand next to the river that is the human mind and watch as things flow by. So if you can just Simply notice that you're feeling the way that you're feeling, whether it's your partner triggering you or your children or your coworker or your mom or your dad or anybody. Somebody at a traffic situation cuts you off or almost hits you, and those feelings arise, and your initial reaction is to be like, ah. But if you can notice just that feeling that you cannot control, pull back and simply have compassion for yourself, maybe even work to have compassion for the person who's causing that trigger in you, you know, you can create so much freedom and so much peace for yourself, and literally regain your power. He says, your initial reaction is your past revealing itself. Whether or not you are aware of it, how you felt before has been largely bottled up inside of you. Woo, that's really powerful. Literally, everything that your reaction is comes from your past. And so if you can pause and just allow yourself to feel the way you feel with compassion, you can stop this repetitive toxic cycle of that reaction and not be stuck in the past anymore. And that pause gives you the power to move forward into the future instead of remaining in the past. I truly believe that all of our suffering in life is caused by feelings we have not allowed ourselves to feel. Hurt that we have not allowed ourselves to fully face. If we can simply allow what needs to come up and watch it as a river flowing by instead of going with it, we regain peace and inner harmony, and we regain our power. And so I hope that is helpful to you as you move forward in your day and your life. Notice the feelings that come up. Allow yourself to feel those feelings. Notice the reaction you want to have, and notice that that reaction is a repetitive cycle. And as you notice, you give yourself the power to move forward in a healthier way. Thank you, Ebert. Thank you, Young Pueblo. I think those messages are so important. And thank you, Tara Brach, for sharing this book free on Audible, Radical Acceptance by Tara Brach. It's wonderful. She really talks a lot about Buddhist principles that I love and things that these beings have taught to me, that just reinforces all the things that I've learned and helps remind me of the things that I've learned from these amazing friends of mine. Let's see. One thing that has helped me a lot, and it's also the way I go into these higher dimensions when I'm journeying, is what I call the medicine tree meditation. And I wanted to share that with you today. When I'm meditating, I have found after years, 6 or 7 years of meditation now, I have found an inner stillness and a peace in my mind that I could not find when I was first meditating. And I am so grateful that I never gave up on meditation, because my mind used to go a million miles a minute. I had so much shame, so much busyness, so much chaos, so many things on my to-do list at all times. And, I was noticing last time in yoga how quiet my mind was able to be and how connected I could be with my mind and my body. I could just sit there and thank my body for moving with me, give gratitude, and simply sit in the stillness. And that is just a gift from the universe that has been a result of practicing time and time again, going back into meditation and working to quiet the mind a little bit more, to create a little bit more compassion for myself, a little more space to simply be. And the medicine tree meditation has really helped me do that. So what I do is I imagine, I don't know if you've seen the Avatar movies, but the trees in those movies are so beautiful. and they're like magical and mystical. And though when I first received my initial set of visions on June 7th of 2020, 2 days from now is the 4-year anniversary of the visions that completely changed my life. I was a very business oriented, busy human, traveling a lot, partying a lot, living a completely different life than I am living now, until those visions through the trees. And the trees, every tree around me, including the ones far off into the distance, had big, bright white auras during that entire session or set of visions. And they were imparting to me the most beautiful lessons. They showed me a past life. They showed me that they were aware of me all throughout my childhood. It was an absolutely mind-blowing, life-changing experience for me and for my husband. And it set us on a path of really seeking after our own healing. And so ever since that experience with the trees, I look at the trees as true medicine and my greatest teachers. And so I envision a tree similar to the trees on Avatar that are beautiful and flowy. They've got these weeping and I can't remember exactly on the movies, but it seems like they'll connect themselves to the weeping willows of the tree and receive energy or something. I can't quite remember. But I imagine a big grandmother tree that is just majestic and mystical and magical. And you can imagine whatever you want, whatever is helpful to you. And I lay at the roots of this tree and imagine that I'm just holding this tree and this tree is holding me at her roots. And it is soft and warm and perfectly comfortable. And I repeat to myself, thank you for healing me. Thank you, medicine tree. And that mantra, saying that over and over as I breathe slowly, helps keep me focused. And what I'm imagining as I'm hugging this beautiful medicine tree is that her medicine, naturally, with the connection we have physically, is pouring into me, filling my body with her light and her love and her wisdom. And I just lay there in meditation saying, thank you for healing me. Thank you, medicine tree, as my entire body and my entire being drinks up the medicine of this great grandmother tree. And when I am journeying, I do the exact same thing. I go into deep meditation and I imagine myself laying at the roots of a great grandmother tree. So whether it's to enter different dimensions and connect with higher dimensional beings, or whether it's simply to find comfort and peace and healing, I believe that this meditation has truly helped my entire body heal, because the cells hear you. They hear your thoughts. They listen to your words. They respond to you. You are the king or queen or goddess or god of this universe that is your body. And it responds to your thoughts, and especially to your thoughts connected with your feelings. So if you are simply giving gratitude to this great being and pretending or imagining that you are soaking up healing energy and loving wisdom from this great being, your body will respond to that and you will heal. I imagine light filling every cell of my body when I'm doing that, coming from this beautiful tree. And another thing that I love to do when I'm not in an actual meditation, but when I'm just simply out and about in my day, if I'm waiting in a line or driving my car or sitting there with my family, I love to repeat the mantra, thank you, thank you, thank you. Just a simple mantra of thank you. It quickly puts me into a state of gratitude, and it allows me to focus on the beautiful things around me. When I'm driving my car, for instance, I can either focus on the annoying drivers around me that are cutting me off or whatever. I can focus on the pollution in the air. I can focus on the the fake clouds in the sky. I could focus on all kinds of things that are going to piss me off and annoy me and lower my vibration. Or I can simply keep my mind quiet and focused as I drive by saying thank you. And that automatically causes me to focus on the beauty around me, to focus on the trees I'm passing by, to focus on the car that I am able to drive and that it's driving smoothly, to focus on the sunshine and the beautiful real clouds. And so the simple mantra of thank you has really helped me to create space and to find that pause that is super healing and helpful and empowering for me. So that is all I have for today. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you, puppies, for being here. Benny's out like a light. He's the cutest. He's so funny. He just wants to be held all the time. I love you all. I truly am so grateful for you taking the time to watch. And I hope you have a wonderful morning, day, evening, whatever. Take good care. Namaste. Oof.